Hi, family. So I wanted to jump on here and do a recap of my experience at Stone Mountain this past weekend. Whew, y'all. Like, oh my gosh. I I'm still processing like what happened, the downloads. Oh my gosh, we'll talk about those, in a little bit. But I can still feel the energetics from what happened. It's like the best way I can describe it probably is like when you are doing maintenance to your computer, to your CPU, and you're deleting old software and you're uploading new software. But that uploading process takes a while. Okay? It takes a while for all of those new codes to be filtered in. That's what it feels like. So I'll probably be processing for the next week or two or longer. Who knows. But it was certainly an amazing experience, and many of us faced great opposition getting to Stone Mountain, getting to the area. Flights were canceled. um Amongst other things. It's just things just start happening. And then to hear about the supernatural things that were happening, the meteor, fell near this area, and just the storms. Like when I got to my hotel room on Friday, it started to like thunder, before nightfall, and it was the weirdest thunder. Like the sound, it was just. So I looked. I was even out there, what the hell? I was like, and the old folks used to say, baby, get somewhere to sit down because God is doing his work. And I was like, I don't even think I turned the TV on. Because it was just weird. The thunder sounded like something I ain't heard since I was back home. Oh, and it was just unusual. I don't hear when it thunders. I don't hear it sound like that. And then I was discussing this with a local here in the area, and he was saying how that same day, like it was thundering, but it wasn't really raining really hard where I am, close by the mountain area. He said, but in the greater part of Atlanta, it held in one area, and then it like flooded out on like the 285. It's like, oh my gosh, like it was just it was the weather was supernatural. All of those flights being canceled, like when one of my family members was supposed to meet me here, and her flight got canceled. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just cray. It was crazy. So, whew, shout out to the ones that you know some kind of way supernaturally was able to get here and experience Stone Mountain. But I think this was just even though this was, I think they said the third one, this was the first one I experienced. But it was something different. Like the energy. I don't remember them saying all of these faux pas happened with the first two. But as I've been filtering the energetics in from being on that granite mountain, it's making sense why this one was so A, vitally important, and B, the significance of it. Okay, so over the next few weeks, I'm gonna be diving into the downloads that I was receiving on the mountain and have been receiving since. And that's why I wanted to do this recording before I left this area, because Atlanta, this area, it sits along a 33-degree parallel, and it does. And what I've noticed in my lifetime, and this is one of the videos that I will be discussing. I'm just gonna introduce some of the information that I'm gonna be diving into in these videos in the next few weeks. But there's just specific some topics that I want to discuss, and one of the things that I will be diving into is, for me, this was a matrilineal homecoming. Okay, for me, it was ancestral, specifically on my mama's side of the family. They were from here. Okay, and that's like I said, muy importante for me and for my mother's side of the family, for me to get back here after about 170 years. Okay, so like I said, there's certain energetics and information that I have the ability to hear clearly and receive, because I was born along that 33-degree parallel. I lived and grew up along that 33-degree parallel, and then coming back to the East Coast, coming back to my ancestral home after about 170 years, 160, 170 years or so, again, along that 33-degree parallel. So, like I said, we're going to be discussing that. I'll do a video on that. But one of the major things I want, and I will be doing a video on, is specifically the channeling experience that I had as it pertains to the divine feminine, and then as it pertains to her with the divine masculine. And one of the things I heard a few days before and while I was on the mountain was, let him help you. And that's what I was hearing a few days before I got to Stone Mountain. And right at the precipice of the mountain, almost at the very tippity tops of the mountain, there was a channeling experience that I had. And one of the security guards helped me get up, and he had his hand stretched out like that. And I was channeling, so I was crying at the same time, and I heard it again. Let him help you. And so I'm going to be diving into that, because this is going to be discussing the healing that's going on, that's beginning, and that needs to take place. between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And this area is a part of that story in a major way. Okay. 10:10 on the clock, as I said that. Okay. We're talking about creation as it was, the creation story as it was, and creation as it's going to begin again. Specifically, within the harmony between divine masculine and divine feminine. And if you listen to any of my videos, specifically the 222 dream video, then you heard me discuss that. You heard me say there has to be harmony between divine masculine and divine feminine energies. You know, in this new age, it's all about those energetics, those two major archetypes being balanced within each other. So, with each other and within each other. So yeah, and another thing, like I said, we're gonna be diving into that, and also specifically to what I was observing the divine feminine experiencing going up the mountain and literally right at the precipice of it. We're gonna be diving into that information as well. Now there's also something else that we're going to be discussing in another video, and that's going to be the binary code language that was disseminated by way of this experience coming in the day before and the day of. And boy, I tell you, whoo-wee. I'm going to leave the meat of that information for the video, but I'll just give you a hint. One of the videos I did several months back, it was saying it was around the return of Saturn time, and I could hear over in that morning God saying, I am back to collect. I have come back to collect. It was that video. If you haven't seen it, you might want to go back and review it. But it's directly tied into that information. And we're going to be discussing that along with I also discussed in a previous video about the completion of the 8 and 9 factor. And that's vitally important as well. We're going to be talking about that because this event took place on 6/28/2025. And just to give the basics of that, 6 + 2 + 8 is 16. And 16 divided by 2 is 8. Okay. Then the year marks a completion code of number 9. Because it is a 2025. 2 + 2 + 5 = 9. So this date specifically goes into the story of the completion code of the number 8 and the number 9. So we're going to be discussing that along with some other things, because this was an ending and a new beginning in major ways. Okay. And I just can't wait to hear the downloads from the other beings, divine beings that were there. Because when I tell you the energetics was, baby, we was up in the heavenlies. Okay. And I'm not just saying that literally because we were on a mountain, but I'm talking about we were reaching the cosmos. Okay. God and them heard us. All right. On that day. And we're going to be discussing that as well. And lastly, moving forward, what's going to happen now, like Dr. King said, where do we go from here? In one of his books, titled one of his books, where do we go from here? And after he saw the vision on the mountain, then the question is, and I think that was his very last book that he wrote before his assassination, where do we go from here? And ironically enough, this took place in his hometown area, in Atlanta. So we're going to be discussing that because there was a lot of completion codes coming in and a lot of angelic codes coming in, I'm sure, for the people that were there or that were planning to get there. Probably saw a lot of 111s and 222s and 333s and 444s and 555s and 66s and 777s and 888s and 999s too, as I was for several weeks and days before this event. So yeah, we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to discuss. So yeah, I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna be preparing for all of this material. I just want to do some extended research before I dive into the downloads, to have secondary sources and stuff like that for people to be able to reference as we discuss these things. But y'all, it's up, then it's up, then it's up, then it's through, like that part. Okay. There are some major endings and new beginnings that took place and that are taking place as a result of this meeting. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. God bless you. God keep you. To each and every one of you that receives this video, that listens to it, and that wants to know more about what our ancestors, God, universe, and nature, and the angelic realm is saying, as it pertains to this meeting, and what we're going to see filter out in the story of planet Earth, what's happening now and what we will continue to see happening. So y'all take care. God bless you. God keep you. And we will see you next time.